What's going on today, guys? Thanks for clicking on my video. In today's video, we have a fun one for you. I keep hearing soul tie this, soul tie that, soul tie is winning everything. Well, you know what? Today's Golgari's chance to shine. All right. I came up with the Golgari deck that I think is pretty freaking sweet. Yes, it dives deep into the jank tank, but it still competes pretty solidly on the ladder. And I hope you guys stick around to see the gameplay footage because it's pretty epic. All right, cue the music and let's dive on in. All right, everybody, welcome back to another Magic the Gathering video breakdown on another deck. Today, like I said, we have Golgari. Golgari is a fun one. We haven't actually done Golgari on the channel yet, and I'm excited to bring you guys this one because I was thinking the other day, I want to put together a deck that revolves around adventure, but I didn't want to just play Teamer Adventure, the one that everyone plays that consistently wins everything. I wanted to make it different because I want to try to be a little more original for you guys. We will have the times where we play those really good tier 1 decks that everyone's already playing, but I felt like I wanted to mix it up and make an adventure deck around Golgari because in my head it started out with a little bit of an idea behind Lucky Clover teaming up with Murderous Rider and just eliminating all kinds of things off the field with one go of Murderous Rider, and it turned into this. I'll explain this in just a moment, but before we jump too deep into it, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so because we do post videos every single Monday for you, and we try to get out an additional video throughout the week for you to get 2 videos a week, but you're definitely going to get one every single Monday, so hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on any future videos. Also, we are live on Twitch every single Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, so be sure to click the link in the description below and hit me with a follow because I'd love to see you guys in the chat and hanging out. And there's also links to Discord down below as well. We have a really active Discord, but that's enough of that. Back to the deck. Let's talk about the deck, and then after we break down the cards in the deck, then we'll jump into some gameplay footage where we got to test this in a variety of different combinations that we were able to hit with this deck, and a variety of different matchups as well. We actually ran into a soul tie deck twice, and soul tie right now is the top tier deck in the game. It's won a tournament pretty recently, and I think there was a mirror match in the final, so it's definitely up there as far as the top tier decks go. And we went 1-1 against it. We had some bad draws in the first game, but the second game we actually ended up winning it. This deck is actually stronger than it looks, and I know it is janky, but I'm pretty proud of it. So like I said, I wanted to put this deck together revolving around Clover and Murderous Rider because I'm like, man, I would love to see what Murderous Rider could do with the Clover. Just being able to hit it multiple times, like say if they have a field of just creature after creature, just hitting multiple Murderous Riders. And I know it hits us for 2 health per shot, but I still wanted to give it a shot and see if we can't build something around that idea. So obviously Edgewall Innkeeper was the first card I wanted to put this deck together with, so then we came up with Golgari because Edgewall Innkeeper is a must-have whenever you do any sort of adventure deck, because it gives you your card draw engine. If you can get multiples of these out on the field, you're going to continuously draw cards, never ending, until your opponent takes care of them. So super strong 1/1 1-drop. It's too good not to have in any adventure deck. So I did feel like we had to build around Golgari, and so that left us with some adventure ideas for black. And black doesn't have a whole lot of good adventure cards, but we found 2 that are pretty sweet. Foulmire Might, or Knight, I'm sorry, Foulmire Knight. This card is pretty sweet because it's adventure. You can actually just draw a card and lose 1 life. So if we have a Lucky Clover out on the field or 2, we can actually draw 2 or 3 cards. So these are really good cards to run in the deck. I did have 4 early on, but only 3 actually seems to be pretty key. No need for 4. I think 3 is just enough to get the job done. Up next would be our Primal Might. We're running 3 of these as well. Primal Might actually is our game winner, really. It's our removal spell, but it also buffs our creatures big enough to where we can one-shot our opponent late game. And you're gonna see too, this deck has so much ramp, it's crazy. We have so much ramp and so many big creatures that Primal Might is just a must-have in this deck, and it's an ultimate win con, to say the least. So you guys already know we're running 4 Lucky Clovers, kind of revolves around the deck. We also, with Lucky Clover though, in this deck we don't want a whole bunch of them, because like you've already seen with these Black Adventure cards, they tick your own health away. So 1 Lucky Clover on the field is pretty ideal. If you do get 2 down, 3 down, it's great for things like Beanstalk Giant to ramp you up and stuff like that, but 1 is pretty much all you need for this to work. But you do want to run 4s, that way you hit it every single game. And then we have our Murderous Rider. You guys know all about Murderous Rider, and a pretty sweet combination that I don't know if we get to see in the gameplay footage, but I know I definitely played one today. I don't know if it was during play testing or not, but Murderous Rider we were able to put onto the field. We were low on life because of the combos that we hit. It kept ticking us for health, but we put it on the field and hit it with a huge Primal Might and got all of our health back in 1 turn, because it is lifelink. So you get to fight the creature, gain life with like a 10-10 Murderous Rider, and then you get to swing in for another 10 and you're right back where you started. So that combo is pretty sweet, but only 3 Murderous Riders, that seems to be enough. And then we go to Lovestruck Beast. 4 Lovestruck Beasts. The reason you want 4 Lovestruck Beasts is because of its 1-drop attribute. It's really, really good in any adventure deck. It's a quick little 1/1 creature that puts a body out there to block against aggro style matchups, but then it becomes a huge threat on turn 3 that your opponent's gonna have to deal with. Obviously they can deal with the 1/1 and your Lovestruck Beast becomes basically useless, but it does have a big body still on the field and a presence where you can block things with. So it confuses the opponent into either having to deal with the 1/1, which is easier to deal with, but ultimately they're gonna want to deal with the Lovestruck Beast, but not a lot of things can hit the Lovestruck Beast like they can the 1/1 token. So a lot of times you end up with a big 5/5 body that can block on turn 3, which is still pretty good. And then we have 2 Extinction Events. This is just for any sort of emergency problems that occur where the field just gets flooded with creatures and you don't know what to do with and deal with them. Almost everything we have here, as you can see, is an odd cost creature. So if it's your opponent's on some even creatures, this is a pretty solid hit, and then you can clear the field and keep all your creatures safe. So running 2 of these just for emergency purposes. And then here we have Deathsprout. Here's an odd one that most people don't run. I like Deathsprout in this deck because not only do you get to destroy a creature, and it's basically a removal card that at instant speed, which is great. You also get a search. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth right now. It just stopped working. It stopped speaking English. You get to search your library for a basic land card. I don't know why I kept saying non-basic and it was throwing me off, but a basic land card, and you get to put it onto the battlefield after you've killed the creature. So this is not only just a removal card, it actually ramps your deck up as well. And it's pretty key because we have really big hitters here at the end here. We have Casualties of War, which is a pretty solid card in any sort of Soul Tie or Golgari deck. This one here is a must-have. I think everyone knows Casualties of War, but it basically can destroy everything on your opponent's field, 1 at a time, of course. But 2 of these is pretty solid to have in your deck just for those big end game, those matchups where your opponent's playing planeswalkers, creatures, everything. You can kind of get rid of their whole field in one go. 2 Casualties of War does the trick. Now, drum roll. Reaper of Night. This card right here, you're probably looking at it going, why do you have 4 Reapers of Night in your deck? Well, let me explain. Reaper of Night is one of the funniest, nastiest win cons anyone has seen. So you play a Lucky Clover on turn 2. Turn 3, you play whatever card you need to play. But then turn 4, you drop a Reaper of Night, Harvest Fear, Adventure, and your opponent has to discard 2 cards. But wait, Lucky Clover. Your opponent's discarding 4 cards on turn 4. This is a thought distortion on steroids. I know I say it later in the game as well. It is absolutely a thought distortion on steroids. And because thought distortion only hits spells, not creature spells, but regular spells, this hits 4 cards. So typically on turn 4, your opponent usually is sitting around 4 cards in their hand. So you Reaper of Night, your opponent has no more hand. It's pretty ridiculous. I hit this card in playtesting for 4 on turn 4 many times, and my opponent just scoops because they have no hand. And by that time, I have an Edgewall Innkeeper out there, and I have multiple cards in my exile pile that I can still play their non-adventure side and draw cards off of. So not only do I have a full hand, but I'm also going to be drawing cards, and our opponent has no cards in hand. So this card is actually slept on hardcore for adventure, and I think it's really, really good, and we have a lot of fun with it. I think that's the biggest thing, is this card is fun. It's just pure fun, guys. I am going on a little long on this, so let's just go ahead and break the rest of this down really quickly. We have 3 Beanstalk Giants for ramp, getting out a big creature, winning the game with, stomping our opponent's face, and then our land base is pretty solid here. All of your dual lands, obviously, and then 8 apiece on green and black, only running 24 lands. You shouldn't have any issues on lands. I do have 2 Castle Locthwains, which are sweet for late game because you're gonna have a ton of ramping and you're gonna have plenty of land available to keep drawing cards. But that's it, guys. That's the deck breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck, and we're gonna get some gameplay footage, and then at the end of the gameplay footage, we're gonna break it back down here and talk about maybe some things that we would change to the deck. But thank you so much for sticking around for this long intro. I apologize, and we're gonna get into this gameplay, and I'll see you guys at the end. Peace. All right, here we go. Golgari Adventures, guys. This is going to be a first on the channel. Golgari, I think, is a new color scheme that we're exploring. Let's see. Opening hand here. What do we got? Is this keepable? I guess it is. We got Lucky Clover and a lot of options here, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep this. Temple of Malady is pretty good to start with because we can scry. We do hit a land. That's all I really wanted there. Can play Castle Locthwain next, but then I won't be able to play my Clover on tempo. Ay. Making things tricky on me. So I guess we'll play the forest first. That way we get the Clover out, and hopefully we hit another land that's not tapped, and we can get to business here. Would love to start getting to business. Faster, the better. The faster, the better. Let's go. Opponents on Demir. Hopefully it's not a thought. Something to hit my hand. Okay. Gonna have to play a slow land, which means we're gonna go for the Lovestruck Beast. Heart's Desire. Easy pick. Thanks to the Clover, though, we get 2 1/1s. Double the threats. Opponent has some instant speed stuff, so might be Demir Flash. Wouldn't be great. I mean, the Flash we might actually do pretty well against, actually. We play a lot of spells because we're going to have a lot of ramp, and we're going to be able to play multiple things in one turn. It's kind of the key to beat Flash. I definitely think our opponent's on Flash, so let's go ahead and Beanstalk first before we play the Temple. That way we can scry at the end without having to reshuffle our deck. Because thanks to Beanstalk Giant, our deck will be shuffled. And play the Temple now. Get a good scry for next turn. Reaper, I'll take it because our opponent has not played a card yet. The Reaper is going to hit heavy here. It's going to hit for 4 cards thanks to our Lucky Clover. Opponent's probably going to flash in something here that's going to block. Or not. Our opponent's just waiting for next Christmas to play. I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with our opponent playing slow. I think it only favors us, to be honest. Reaper of Night. This card right here is slept on, man. Watch this play right here. This is going to be nasty. If our opponent, of course, doesn't counter it, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and skip ahead to main phase 2 just to see if our opponent has anything instant speed. I think they already did, though, if I remember correctly. I think they have some instant speed stuff. Let's find out. Do I play this first and hope I hit a land? I could. If I miss a land drop, though, if we draw 2 cards and neither one's a land, this is not going to be a good play. But this could also get countered, which would really break my heart. Let's hit next, find out. They do have instant speed. Let's hope we draw something out of them. Nothing. All right, let's go for it. Let's hope we hit. I think it's gonna hit. If they haven't already countered this already, it's gonna hit. Let's go. So our opponent now has to discard 4 cards. This is basically a Thought Distortion on steroids, because a Thought Distortion only hits sorceries and instant speed spells. This hits anything. So Shark Typhoon and Cling to Dust, gone. 2 more cards. Opponent's really thinking about this. I don't blame them. Having to take 4 cards out of my hand would really irk me. I'm not going to be able to play anything else. We're 1 short, but would have been nice if I played this first and hit a land. But it is what it is. I had to make sure, or at least test the waters on a counter spell, because if they would have countered this, it would have been heartbreaking. Aether Gust and Heartless Act, gone. Aether Gust is huge. And they refill immediately with the Chemist's Insight. Nice play. Nice. Still, can you see how crazy that is though? The Reaper of Night with the Lucky Clover? Absolutely disgusting. Imagine if we had 2 clovers out there, right? You know, that'd be 6 cards. Their entire hand would have been gone. Opponent can jumpstart that Chemist's Insight as well though and refill even more. Speak of the devil. All right, let's do that, and then let's go ahead and draw a bunch of cards here. Let's go ahead and draw 3 cards. There's a land. Feeling pretty good about this right now. I really am. Our opponent is really leaving us to, you know, to our own devices at the moment, and we're just outvaluing them. We draw cards on almost every play. We gain lands. We're ramping. So opponent's got some big boys to deal with down here when we get these cards out. And if they don't sweep the board, these Lovestruck Beasts are absolutely able to attack. So the fact that they had Heartless Act though and they threw it away tells me they have a lot of removal, I'm guessing. Yep, there's some more removal. There goes all the 1/1s. Kind of expected it. But we can always do this and throw out another one. Let's throw out 2 Lovestruck Beasts here. Now if they want to hit me with a Cry of the Canarium, that's fine. Lovestruck Beast survives. Won't be able to attack, but next turn I can play the Knight and then they can swing in either way. So I'm sitting pretty good as far as the Cry goes. Not a lot of people are running this in Standard right now. Respect. Respect. We have a Deathsprout, which is really nice to have because it hits those creatures, and then we also get a land, which only makes our giant bigger. I want to hit another Reaper of the Night, just get rid of our opponent's entire hand, and then really have the victory sealed up. I feel like we pretty much have it sealed up though, because our opponent again hasn't played anything as far as a board presence goes, so we're free to just kind of come in and smack them up. Going for odd, yep, I figured, but they could have gone even there and then they would have been useless, but maybe they saw that I had the Knight in my hand. I respect the play. Let's just go ahead and throw one of these down and swing in and then leave up our Deathsprout. I do feel like something's coming soon, so I'm going to leave up the Deathsprout to be able to do its thing. I have so many threats down here, that are these 2 threats here that could just really shake things up as well. So every time our opponent deals with something, we have something even bigger ready to go. Plus we have Lucky Clover and Murderous Rider, so We could honestly destroy 3 things, 3 permanents on the field, planeswalkers or creatures. Nothing a Deathsprout can't handle. And I'm pretty sure that is going to be a wrap. Wouldn't even be surprised if we see a scoop here. Opponent has a lot of things to deal with here now. Could have just played the knight, but I feel like I should keep it available in case they have a way to deal with these 1/1s, like another Extinction Event. I think we got the W though on this one. Can they handle the Beanstalk Giant? That's the real question here. Ooh, they can. I'll take action because I could always use more lands. Putting that on top essentially is 3 free lands because they all come in on tapped and it only costs 3 to play, so 3 free lands. It seems like our opponent doesn't have another removal spell on hand, so gonna gain life here, or they're drawing a card. They're drawing a card. They should have hit that Lovestruck Beast and gained life, and they would have been fine at least for another turn. Would have survived, but to each their own. All right, let's go. Game 1. I feel like you guys got to see a lot of the gameplay in that game 1, like a lot of the different variants. Like we got to do our mill. We got to show off how much card draw this deck has, and all the ramping as well. So got to show off a lot of cool effects this deck can actually do, which I really enjoy. Super strong hand. If we hit a land drop, are we gonna hit the land though? Do we risk it? This could honestly be a free loss on the video if I don't hit a land. We're on the draw, so you would think we would hit a land. So, but we are playing arena. Oof, let's go. We hit it. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we are going to get the Reaper of Night on tempo, but it looks like we're against mono red, so it might not be that great. About to find out though. We do have a Murderous Rider, so we can hit 2 creatures if they go back to back here. Oh, that'll work. That's a target. And then something to note here is when I Murderous Rider this, we're actually going to lose the Murderous Rider. We won't be able to play it secondary because we don't have a second target for it. It's kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Actually, let's cancel. See if our opponent plays a creature pre-combat phase, and then we'll be able to hit the creature and Chandra. So that's also what I was kind of worried about, though. Is they're going to get value out of the Chandra before I can kill it. It is what it is. We'll take the 2. We'll take the 2. Hopefully they play something, though, so I can get double value out of these. Light up the stage. That is something. That is something. All right. Now we do get to keep the Murderous Rider because we have 2 valid targets. If one of these was not on the field and I went ahead and used that, the copy of the Lucky Clover would trigger and then we wouldn't have a target to destroy. So Murderous Rider would then go to the graveyard. It would essentially get countered. Now we're going to basically take our opponent's entire next hand. All right, let's go ahead and just empty our opponent's hand. Every single card out of there. Oh, we hit a Winota and a Moth. That's huge. Oh, that's huge. Our opponent has nothing now. They have nothing but this Tajik, which prevent all non-combat damage dealt to other creatures you control. Yep, okay. That's fine. That is fine. So We could double up here again. That's a lot of damage, I'm aware. We have 3 life now. But now we have bodies. And then next turn we could play the Innkeeper and get some life gain. Oh, the Loxodon. Alright, well, we're gonna have to kill that. That's unfortunate. Okay, well. Pass turn, no attacks. Opponent's gonna swing in, kill the Loxodon. Do I take 2 and kill one of those tokens, or do I just play? That's tricky. Tricky. Let's kill this. Let's get a land. Sorry if I go a little bit quiet here. I'm trying to think really hard about this next few plays. Now I could kill one of these and then play a Murderous Rider. I'd be down to 1 though. That's risky because depending on what they draw, do they have any haste? I'm sure they do have like a Chandra. Yeah, Chandra. What are the odds that they hit that? Yeah, I gotta play it safe here, I think. Okay. So I could play this. Okay. Play this. That's life gain. We draw a card. And then this will be Death Touch to prevent our opponent from thinking about attacking. Got another card, and we get to scry. Value is endless here, but I'm not 100% confident in our position here. Yeah, they do not want to swing in here. I'm only going to gain life, and they're going to lose one of their creatures. Would not be smart, but they might. If they do, thank you, but I think we pulled this one out. I really think we pulled this one out. Opponent might scoop here after doing all the analysis, but Reaper comes through again by taking our opponent's entire hand. I know that kind of sets us back. It's a little clunky as a 4-drop. It sets us back a turn, and we take a lot of damage that we have to catch up on, but it gets the job done. It really does. Nothing feels better than taking your opponent's entire hand either, you know? Let's get some lands here. Another Murderous Rider. And swing in. Swing in. I will leave you back for defense. Let's go ahead and just swing in here. I know they're going to double block. I know it is what it is. We lose our Murderous Rider, but that's life, and we need to gain life ASAP, because if our opponent plays anything like a Winota and they start, you know, swinging in for massive amount of damage that I can't defend all of it. 3 damage is not a lot. Perfect. We did it. We did it. Let's go. Let's go. Oh man, I really hope you guys are enjoying this video as much as I am, and I hope you have a lot of fun if you decide to make this deck. It's a blast to play, and it's not really that many wild cards, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I must say it is pretty good. I like this hand. Innkeeper Murderous Rider combo. Gotta love that. We got removal on turn 3 and 4. So I think we're gonna keep this one. That's also good. Opponent might be on some ramp here though. Could be bad. Let's go ahead and just double up on this now, or do we not double up on this now? What's the right move here? I'm gonna enter tapped. I'm not gonna double up on the Innkeeper just in case they deal with it. I don't see him obviously removing it with Simic colors, but they could. They definitely could. Gotta be smart here. Do I just play one now to get the card draw? it's kind of low value because I can get 2 cards off of it, but what if we don't hit a land on the next draw? You know what I'm saying? Man, these decisions are the worst. So I play the Murderous Rider for 1 card, hoping we hit a land. If we don't hit a land, that's fine because it only ups our chances to get another land. But if I play the Innkeeper now, yeah, I'm gonna do it now. I feel pretty confident our opponent is not going to remove these off the board. If I'm wrong, I lose the game. I'd rather hit lands on tempo, to be honest. I really do. I really do think it's more important. Here comes the Uro. Ready? Oh, okay. It's honestly probably more annoying than an Uro, but they're probably like Golgari Adventures. What the hell is this? Oh, Midnight. The Reaper of Night. Alright, well, it looks like we're going to play one of these to draw a card. I didn't want to have to do that, but forces our opponent to deal with the Murderous Rider because we're going to be gaining some life, which is never ideal. Reaper of the Night is great, but I would like to find a Clover before I do that. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Do I play it though? Just to get 2 cards out of our opponent's hand? Or do I wait? Could disrupt our opponent's plays, but let's just swing in first, see what they do. I don't think they're gonna do anything, but let's just check. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it because if I don't use it, I'm not gonna use anything else this turn, and I'd rather get value out of my mana and use it for something. So let's disrupt our opponent. We give up 1 card for their 2. We also still have a creature to play, so I think that's good value. Opponent bins 2 lands. Am I right? Or a Hydroid Krasis? Definitely gonna hit the Primal Might, right? Yep, there goes Primal Might. Such a good card. Such a fantastic card. But as long as our opponent's going after our hand, they don't have anything in their hand, so it is what it is. Let's scry. There's a Clover. Don't mind if I do. And I guess we just end our turn here and say go. That Clover could have came a little sooner if I'm being honest. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm still going to pass turn here and say go instead of playing our Murderous Rider because we're not in a great position anymore. We have a light hand, not a lot to do. If our opponent plays anything bigger like an Uro and I can't deal with it, that'd be not good. So gonna just leave this out here. That's pretty solid. That's really solid because we're at 24 life total, so the 2 damage is not anything. Another Clover's not great. Gonna hold off on that Clover until we find something worth playing it with, like a Beanstalk Giant or something, but I don't want to take 6 damage to remove 3 things. That's not really great. Murderous Rider dealing, you know, two swift ends is good, but 3 is a little bit overkill if I do say so myself. Is opponent playing Uro? They are. Get crazy with me, kid. Get crazy with me. Opponent definitely has replenished their hand since we dealt with them. I'm gonna go ahead and Deathsprout this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna swing in. Opponent will not block because it's Death Touch. That's a free point of damage. And then on our opponent's turn, before they go to combat phase, we're going to Deathsprout. And then we get another land, which is great because then we can play the Reaper of Night, which is a 4/5. Not ideal, but it's still a pretty big creature to deal with. But it can't fly, is what I was gonna say. But now I can't play it because they Aether Gusted their own Uro. Little wise guy. All right, we can still play it. Perfect. It's a big enough creature that, you know, even though it can't fly, our opponent's got to deal with it soon. Otherwise, that damage is going to start adding up. 7 and 1. These are all odd. So the Extinction Event, it's tricky. I can't really Extinction Event for odd killing the Uro now, though, because our 2 creatures are odd as well. That's a target for Murderous Rider, though. There's another Thought Erasure. That's 3 out of the 4 already, right? Sure is. Opponent gonna grab some blue here so they can do that real quick. Yep. What am I losing? I really hope they take the Lucky Clover, to be honest. Take the Lucky Clover. Super unfortunate. It's alright, though. We can kill you. Kind of wastes us a turn, but... yeah, just end turn. Save our Innkeeper here, because if our opponent has a sweeper of any kind, they are, you know, they are soul tie, so they definitely have sweeper options. Want to make sure that we're ready to replenish. Okay. Respectful. I can respect that. We'll just keep tagging our opponent for 1 until they want to do, you know, something. Man, they are making my life hard with that Narset. Ay, ay, ay. Another Uro. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if there's a way to come back from this. We're playing, you know, the #1 deck in the meta right now, which is Soul Tie. So it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be hard to bounce back. Let's just swing in on this. If they want to use it again, they have to sacrifice it, which would work for me, so I can get my Innkeeper out there and start drawing cards. Not being able to draw cards because Narset's on the field really hurts our deck, so our opponent getting rid of it was the best thing for us. But there goes our Innkeeper. Oh, they go for Extinction Event. Okay. They leave our draw engine out there. I will take it. I know they're worried about us hitting, you know, their Uro, I'm sure, but I still don't think that was the right play for them to make.
The land fights for us.
Extinction Event. They're waiting for me to play this now to play the Extinction Event. Which kind of stinks because almost every card I have is odd. So them hitting us would be awful because it would take everything. So from now on, we're going to have to hold up our Knight as a tool to block with, which is fine because if they want to get rid of it, they're going to have to use Extinction Event. I'm just going to send them all. Send them all out. No attacks. Here comes the Extinction Event, which takes care of their Uro as well. Interesting. That seems like an odd choice. I'm not 100% too sure where this game's gonna go, to be honest with you. I think we're gonna lose, but I guess that makes sense that they swung in. They were just trying to get value out of the Uro. Makes a lot of sense, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We did draw a Castle Locthwain, which is huge. We have so much mana to do things with that we can just draw cards, which is nice. I could really use a Casualties right now. That'd be really solid. Opponent's on 26 cards, so if we go down to mill, they're going to be milled first, but I don't think that's going to happen. Somebody's going to pull the big cards here soon. Another Uro.
Harness the elements.
Opponent says good game. That's not nice. That's not nice. Well, I guess it is good game. Primal Might was a sweet pull, but I need something to pair it with. And unfortunately, our opponent dealt with all of our creatures pretty heavily.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Man, those thought erasures, man. Drawing 3 of those early on like that was pretty detrimental to their victory. Us not being able to get anything off because our opponent took almost every card that does anything in our deck out of our hand. It happens. It happens. And we're top decking 2 lands back to back. That's never ideal. Unfortunately, this does happen, so. Yikes. We went up against the best deck in the meta though, and I feel like we didn't get blown out, you know, and we had our moments, so I'm okay with that. I do think there's a chance we could win that matchup if we draw correctly. And our opponent, you know, doesn't top deck 3 thought erasures, but you know, it is what it is. On to the next one. We're gonna play one more before the end of the video. Let's go. All right, let's go. What do we got here? We got Lucky Clover, Beanstalk Giant, and Lovestruck. I'm happy with this. I think we're gonna learn from our mistake before though, and we're gonna play the Lovestruck's Heart's Desire before we wait to play the Lucky Clover. I just don't want to play out of tempo again, like that one game. I think we ended up winning that game, but I still think I learned from that mistake by playing this. Then we go for Lucky Clover next. Playing Soul Tie again. Oh boy. Oh boy. Thought Eraser. Gonna take everything out of my hand. Uro, okay. A Reaper of the Night right now would be pretty sweet, but wouldn't be able to play it quite yet. We do get a Beanstalk Giant with 2 lands. That's always awesome. Go double green here? Yeah, double green. Now we're starting to build up some threats over here in the exile pile that they're gonna have to deal with, that they see and they're gonna plan for and they're gonna have to work around, which is nice. We have plenty of removal if they want to play something, but I think that's really the problem, and where we come into our issues with the Soul Tie matchup is that they're not heavily creature based. They're more of like controlling our hand, ramping up, drawing cards. So that is a creature though. That is something I could play a Deathsprout on and get some value out of. Let's see, if I play this, nope, wouldn't matter. Wouldn't be able to play my Deathsprout and a Lovestruck Beast, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and just pass the turn. I'm actually contemplating, do I even want to play a Deathsprout against a Hydroid Crisis? I guess I should now, seeing I didn't play my Lovestruck Beast, but yeah, I think we should. That way we can ensure that we can play the Beanstalk Giant as well. Opponent plays another Uro. I'm starting to think because Sultai is so prominent right now that maybe we should add something to the deck that exiles, you know, graveyards. Let's go ahead and deal with that. This is such a cool card. I know the cost of it is a little outrageous and that's why it's an uncommon, but for what it does, it's pretty awesome. So as long as our opponent doesn't have removal, which they're highlighting this like crazy, so I know they do. If they didn't have removal there, and they only could combat that with creatures of their own, that's where we really start to thrive, because we could start getting ahead by having our board state and then every turn just destroying whatever creature that they want to play over and over again and while we attack. But our opponent is on Sultai, so they're going to have plenty of removal themselves, which makes this a really tough matchup for us. No attack. Let's end our turn. We'll Deathsprout this, and we'll just keep thinning out our deck, which is nice. What are they gonna hit here? Odd, right? Yeah. I was hoping maybe they'd do even and make a mistake, but they didn't make a mistake. That was a big card, though, for one creature. I'm actually okay with that. I should have grabbed another forest. Oh, well. But yeah, that was a big play for such a little value. Sorry, I couldn't think of a word to use there that made sense. Value would be a good one. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get rid of some of those cards in your hand. Yeah, 4 of them. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Ooh, enter the God Eternals, 2 of them? We really evened out the playing field here now. They have plenty of cards though in the graveyard for Uro, which really hurts a lot, but we do have options to take care of Uro. They pulled the Casualties of War, so they're going to go after the Lucky Clover. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I think it served its purpose. We could Deathsprout the Fae of Wishes. The Fae's not going to want to block that. We could also... Do we just play this and not Deathsprout? Or do we... Can I do this and Murderous Rider? No. Can I do... No. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, let's not do anything because I don't want to give them more value out of their casualties. I want them to use their casualties on something small. If they hit a big creature, it wouldn't be great. Casualties cost a lot of mana here, so they're not going to be able to Uro, I don't think. Do we use this first? We could. But I don't feel like taking damage right now. I feel like we're okay in the card department. The more basic lands we hit, you know, the thinner our deck gets. So I feel like let's just keep that going. And somehow we still top deck main, you know, lands. That's crazy. That's a big card to deal with. Is that one card or your top deck good enough to take care of our Beanstalk Giant? That's the question. Teferi, that's something. It phases me out, so.
My skills are aged to...
All right. I am more than happy to give this up. Actually, let's wait until the end of the turn. Let's wait till the end of the turn to Murderous Rider that. Oh wait, I lost my Lucky Clover. I don't have to hit 2 targets anyways. This is actually fine. I can actually just hit the Teferi end of turn and we'll be good to go. Now you're probably wondering why I'm going to Murderous Rider, the Teferi, instead of Casualties of War, getting that as well as the Uro. And the reason being is because the Teferi can play a loyalty on my turn and phase this out. So what I want to do here is I want to take care of the Teferi now, so it doesn't phase this out. Opponent's got 10 cards in the graveyard, so even if I kill the Uro, they can replay it and keep gaining value off of it, which is kind of annoying. 6, 7, and 3, so those are all odds. That's unfortunate. Just swing in. Obviously, oh, they're not gonna block. Okay. I guess I will casualties then. Make our opponent replay it. Let's play our Reaper, and it will have flying next turn. And if we can pull a Primal Might off top somehow, we probably win this game. They're playing Uro again. That's a good sign. Means that they don't have much. It kind of stinks too that Uro is one of those cards I really always have to constantly be dealing with the Soul Tie matchup, and all of my cards are odd cost values, so I can never Extinction Event that Uro. It kind of makes things really difficult for me. Just should I play this outright? I mean, I could. I'm a little worried about an Extinction Event coming back to me. So this is risky playing this card out, but oh, cycle. Okay, that's a good sign. It's all coming down to the top deck, and we pulled it out, guys. We just beat Soul Tie, which is the #1 deck in the meta, with this janky Golgari adventure deck, baby. Let's go. I love to see it. Love to see it. I knew we could beat that matchup. I told you guys we could beat that matchup. We hit that Reaper at just the right time to where we were able to empty out their entire hand, and that completely swung the game. That combo right there is the reason why we built the deck, and that's why I really, really love this deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's break it down at the end here and talk about maybe some things that we could change to make it a little bit better, and go from there. All right, sweet. All right, I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed that gameplay footage. I know I did. I had a lot of fun playing this deck. Like I said, it's going to be hard for me to move on to a new deck because I do want to get some more games in with this one and see what I can actually do with this. I don't know if I can quite climb the ladder consistently with this. I do feel like we're going to take losses here and there because it does have its problems with the aggro decks, and also with cards that constantly are refilling their hand. I know we have Reaper of Night that I absolutely love, but it does have its problems of just ending games on decks that have just continuous draw, like Soul Tie, like Uro, and Hydroid Crasises and things like that. But overall, the deck performed really, really well than what I thought it would. I thought this was going to be total jank that I'd have to kind of mess around with for constant weeks and weeks until I figure something out, but it worked out really, really well, and I think you guys will have a lot of fun with this, especially if you have the cards already and you don't have to craft much. I know as far as rares go, it's not as rare heavy as I typically would have. I think, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, yeah, there's a couple rares in here, actually more than I thought, but still not as rare heavy as I normally go. So I hope you guys enjoy this and are able to play this. But let's talk about some things that maybe we would change to this deck. So we do have a small problem, like I said, with the life draining of this deck with Murderous Rider and the Knight constantly ticking us for health. So I'm not 100% sure how we could go about fixing that, but I do know Erebos' Intervention is a good card to just gain life with. Erebos Intervention. Where's it at? It's somewhere in here, but it's a good card just to gain life with. It might be something to look into. And again, I'm just trying to talk about things I would change, and this is just top of mind. I don't know if it'll actually fit in the deck, and I haven't had time to play test it, but it's a really, like I said, it's a really good card just to gain some life with and remove things off the field, but it doesn't exactly synergize with our adventure. So maybe this card could take place of Extinction Event. Extinction Event really wasn't a card that I really had to rely on a whole lot. I did have to use it, but it wasn't something I had to rely on a whole lot. Also, you guys are going to notice too, if you made it this far, you already noticed, Uro is a big problem for us to deal with because it's in the graveyard, and it could constantly come back and regenerate our opponent's health, hand, all these things that we wanted to just take care of. So maybe something that would exile a card from our graveyard, maybe like Cling to Dust or a Tomb. There's a lot of options for that, but something that deals with our opponent's graveyard would be pretty sweet. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have some ideas to make this deck better, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear from you guys. And if you made it this far, I really do appreciate you guys. If you hear the sound of my voice right now, you guys are incredible for making it this far. And I always like to tell you guys at the end of the video how much I really appreciate you for making it this far into a video. You guys are true supporters of the channel, and I can't thank you enough, because I am trying to grow this channel, you know, and it is a dream of mine to make this channel work and grow and become, you know, full-time on content creation for you guys. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys are subscribed already to the channel. If you aren't, be sure to do so on your way out. I'd really appreciate it. And again, I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the deck. If you like it, you don't like it, or things you would change, I'm all ears. And again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.